This essay analyzes the recent ground stop implemented at Los Angeles International Airport, LAX, due to Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, staffing shortages, examining the causes, widespread consequences, future predictions, and necessary solutions to address this critical issue within the nation's air traffic control, ATC, system. Summary and analysis of the incident. In late October 2025, air traffic across the United States experienced significant disruptions, centrally highlighted by a temporary ground stop at LAX. This halt in departures, initiated by the FAA, was a direct consequence of a sudden and severe staffing shortage at the Southern California Air Traffic Control Facility. This was not merely an isolated operational glitch, but a clear manifestation of compounded systemic problems exacerbated by a political crisis, the federal government shutdown. The analysis reveals that this incident, which briefly grounded flights at one of the world's busiest airports, was part of a larger, nationwide challenge. The FAA reported a spike in staffing triggers, situations where staff levels fell below mandated minimums, at facilities like Newark Liberty, Chicago O'Hare, and Washington Reagan National Airport. These delays were a necessary safety measure. When staff numbers fall too low, air traffic must be slowed down via ground stops or ground delay programs to maintain the required safety margins, preventing air traffic controllers, ATCs, from becoming critically overloaded. This deliberate slowing of the system to preserve safety has become the primary, immediate consequence of the current staffing crisis. Reasons: the immediate and systemic causes. The shortage has two distinct reinforcing causes: an immediate political trigger and deep systemic workforce challenges. Immediate cause: the government shutdown. The most immediate factor contributing to the LAX ground stop was the ongoing federal government shutdown. As essential employees, the nation's approximately 13,000 air traffic controllers were mandated to work without pay. This financial duress, combined with the already immense stress of their high-stakes job, led to a predictable spike in controller absences, often cited as illness-related sick-outs. As Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy noted, financial worry and job strain were causing controllers to wear thin, pushing staffing levels at critical facilities to unsustainable thresholds. When employees are forced to work without compensation, they face distraction and hardship that directly impacts performance and attendance, critically undermining the air safety infrastructure. Systemic causes: a decades-old shortage. The shutdown crisis merely exposed a pre-existing vulnerability. The FAA has long been struggling with a significant and enduring workforce deficit, estimated to be about 3,500 controllers short of its targeted staffing levels even before the shutdown began. The roots of this systemic shortage include: 1. High turnover and retirement. The ATC profession is inherently stressful, leading to high washout rates during training and a mandatory retirement age of 56, contributing to a constant outflow of experienced personnel. 2. Training bottleneck. The process to become a fully certified controller is rigorously long, often taking up to 4 years, primarily due to a centralized training academy in Oklahoma and a subsequent prolonged on-the-job training phase at individual facilities. This bottleneck limits the rate at which new controllers can enter the system. 3. Mandatory overtime. Before the shutdown, many facilities relied heavily on mandatory overtime and 6-day work weeks, further increasing controller fatigue and magnifying the safety risks. Consequences: ripple effects across the nation. The consequences of the staffing deficit extend far beyond the immediate inconvenience at one airport. The LAX ground stop initiated delays that rippled across the national airspace system, affecting airlines and travelers coast to coast. From an operational perspective, the primary consequence is reduced efficiency. Thousands of flights across the country were delayed as the FAA implemented ground delay programs to manage traffic flow safely. This forces airlines to burn extra fuel waiting for takeoff slots and severely disrupts connecting flight schedules, leading to cancellations and frustrating travelers. From a safety perspective, the increased reliance on already overburdened controllers is the most critical threat. When controllers are overworked, fatigued, and financially stressed, the margin for human error, though mitigated by layered safety systems, narrows. Major aviation organizations, including pilot unions, have warned that the system is demonstrably less safe when controllers are forced to operate under these conditions. Economically, the continuous delays represent significant costs to the aviation industry and the broader economy, with analysts predicting major financial losses as disruptions continue. Prediction: near and long-term outlook. In the near term, disruptions are predicted to intensify, particularly if the federal budget impasse continues. As controllers miss additional paychecks, absences are likely to climb, requiring more frequent and prolonged ground stops and delays at major hubs nationwide, including during peak travel periods. The system is already stretched to its breaking point, and any additional operational shock, like severe weather or equipment failures, will lead to disproportionately chaotic results. In the long term, the staffing crisis will persist and could worsen unless systemic changes are implemented. Even after the current government shutdown ends, the FAA will still be thousands of controllers short. Without fundamental reforms to the hiring pipeline, the profession will continue to struggle to keep pace with retirements and rising air traffic demand, which includes the eventual integration of advanced air mobility, AAM, like eVTOLs. The current reliance on overtime and a high-stress environment creates a negative spiral that drives experienced controllers out, making recruitment and retention even harder. Solutions. Necessary reforms. Addressing this complex problem requires both immediate political action and sustained institutional reform. 4. Immediate political resolution. The most critical and immediate solution is for Congress to pass a clean continuing resolution, CR, to fully fund the government and compensate federal workers, including ATCs. This action would immediately alleviate the financial and emotional stress driving the high rate of staff absences, allowing the system to return to its baseline, pre-shutdown staffing levels. 5. Systemic workforce reforms. For a sustainable solution, the FAA must overhaul its recruitment and training processes. Increase training throughput. The FAA needs to maximize the capacity of its Air Traffic Collegiate Training Initiative (ATCTI) programs and potentially create multiple training facilities beyond the Oklahoma Academy to quickly increase the number of qualified trainees entering on-the-job training. Improve retention and fatigue management, implementing new, non-fatigue-inducing shift schedules, providing longer recovery periods between shifts, and deploying robust fatigue risk management systems are essential to retaining current controllers. Modernize staffing management. The FAA must complete the implementation of modern workforce management tools and standardize scheduling across facilities to accurately track staffing needs and deploy resources efficiently. Structural consideration. Some experts suggest separating the operational function of air traffic control from the regulatory function of the FAA, potentially placing ATC services under a user fee-funded government corporation or nonprofit, shielded from the budget volatility of congressional appropriations. This would provide the necessary stability for long-term hiring and modernization efforts. Ultimately, the LAX ground stop serves as an unambiguous warning. The U.S. air traffic system requires continuous investment in its human capital to guarantee safety and efficiency.